Welcome back to the Eric Crown Crypto channel, wishing you a happy New Start to Slice Wednesday. It's a great day. It's a great day for the SEC to sue yet another crypto company and produce some pretty volatile price action, getting the most action that we've really been having in the past 3 weeks, just over the past 24 to like 36 hours. Anyways, other than that, I wanted to follow up on some of the short-term time frame videos that we're looking at. We were looking at first a move to the low at about 25,200 yesterday. Unlikely continuation yesterday, plus potential bear trap back above 26,000 and change. That has obviously happened, and Bitcoin going on for another $1,000 plus rally on top of that, and that kind of leads us to where we're at today. So a few more setups to be covering here, and other than that, I want to once again let you know that if you are interested in the Jewel Lite or trialing the Jewel Lite, you can get it for free for the first 30 days. If you follow the directions in the link in the description below, it'll also award you 0% fees on maker orders for derivative contracts on Bybit, and what else? And also they got Apex, so if you're getting, I don't know, kicked off any one of the exchanges, maybe that's a consideration for you as well. All right, sweet. So first things first, let's start it off right over here. This was a 2-hour time frame setup, similar to the 4-hour time frame setup they were looking at yesterday for the HPDR indicator. Obviously, Bitcoin getting several closures below that blue 50% of historic returns range lows right here, coupled with declining volatility represented by the BBWP indicator, which started around this period, alongside PMARP being below 50 percentile. Well, that has produced a nice setup that over the past 299 trades, which I believe is back tested for the past 3 years, has produced some pretty nice stats, actually, pretty consistent actually as well, with about almost 65% of those having a nice upside bounce. In this case, that one obviously fired off yesterday, as we did say, was, hey, you know, this is something to look for. We were looking at the 4-hour time frame. Obviously, the 2 hours is going to precipitate that, but in this case, I think that the 2 hours is just a little more clean. And yes, that fired off right around the mid $25,000 territory, and then boom, big move up, closed that one at 26,650 or so. So yes, you know, another one of these setups working out right here after a couple of failed ones. But you know, of course, when we're talking about statistics, we're not talking about certainties, and we've seen several of these work out before that as well. So we're starting to like balance it out over time. I was just getting a little bit concerned because people were like blindly saying, okay, you know, play, you know, all in here. It's like, wait a minute, sir. You know, some of these are bound to fail, but in this case, this one did work out rather well, and we'll actually be covering up another potential setup at the end of this video. I want to get through the bulk of this content first. So before we get into it, or as we get into it, I should say, we can now reference the daily time frame and talk about the topic of the day, which is bullish engulfing dildo, as Bitcoin did trade below the low of Monday and closed above the high of Monday as well, thus engulfing the prior, and you know, pretty damn powerful move as Bitcoin gets bought back on up, you know, close to 27,000 bucks. I would not say that things are necessarily fully out of the woods just yet, to use that terrible fucking TA enjoyer meme or whatever the hell that it is, but you know, so far so good. And now we can say that as long as Bitcoin is above 26,500, you know, the ball is in the Bullash's court. Similar to yesterday, that you know, as long as Bitcoin was below about 26,000 bucks, ball was in the bear's court. Well, obviously that you know, that condition was met, and in this case, a new condition arises. As always, you need to have some sort of way to invalidate the current idea. But typically, after a bullish engulfing dildo, as you would guess, probably going to see another try to the upside. So in this case, you know, it is now once again favoring the Bullash's, and I do want to follow up on the 5-day Gaussian channel. It's also very, very similar to the weekly here as well, as this one has been just accurately getting things so damn well throughout this past almost 3-month period, going back to late March, when Bitcoin actually broke above the mean band on the Gaussian channel for the first time in over a year, and now playing in between the top side and the mean band. And so again, I wanted to revisit this because, you know, while it has been boring, this has played rather technically within that overall range. Now, theoretically, or not theoretically, but the mean band does reach a little bit lower, which is why I was saying yesterday, maybe we do see you know, a quick move down just below 25,000 bucks. But in this case, you know, it looks like the bounce happened a little bit faster. Obviously, on spot price action, same thing, just the top side, and on the weekly, yeah, there's that. There are the same numbers basically. But going back into it, back onto the 5 5-day here, I did want to reference a couple things. So first things first, why is this important right here? Well, as long as Bitcoin is bouncing off that mean band, which this is a pretty impressive bounce thus far, it does imply that it's more likely to test and play between the top side, which is about $30,000, and that mean band, which it already bounced off of. So you would be looking for the next test to the top side of that range. Very, very similar now to what we did see back on over here in May of 2020, so about 3 years ago now, where Bitcoin again reclaimed that mean band, played between the top side and the mean band for it was many months, actually about 3 months into early June from that initial April acceptance, and then boom, busting on through for some busting action, and the rest was history. In fact, kind of similar here as well. I made a bit of a glib tweet about this yesterday, I believe it was. It was like actually me tweeting, by the way. But kind of similar in a lot of cases to what, or in a lot of ways to what we saw over here when BitMEX, when the SEC came after BitMEX. Now, yes, that was a criminal case, and these are obviously civil suits that are being filed. But the same sort of initial response with that first move to the downside, that was Binance, and then it's like, all right, okay, I guess they're going to go after them. That's great, or not so great, but the market, continues upwards and onwards. So ultimately, again, I want to remind myself that anytime that we have seen on the 5-day time frame Bitcoin reclaim the mean band after turning red, it has played between that mean band and the top side with an inevitable resolution above the top side actually as well. So in this case, I'm talking about this area right here going on for that next major run. In this case, we can reference the current one, and you can see that acceptance above the top side would be about above $30,000, meaning that we would actually be expecting Bitcoin to not just trade back up around there, but probably bust on through, if history is any sort of a guide for this one, maybe later on in this month. Anyways, again, I don't want to make things sound like all clear and good, because there is one major thing to be aware of, which we'll cover at the end of this video. But yes, so we've gotten that. We've gotten that as well. Do we want to reference the weekly moving averages? I mean, they've drawn a little bit closer to each other. Yes, indeed. Again, as long as Bitcoin's above that green 55, it is inevitable that we will see a silver cross, of which, those have, been pretty damn powerful in Bitcoin's history, which is currently at low $26,000. So Bitcoin still needs to hold above that region for that to pull through. But again, the more that it does, it is inevitable that we actually will see that cross, yes, indeed, between the 21 and 55. That's the yellow and the green, respectively. Just want to see the lower period above the higher period to initiate that. Anyways, yes, moving on through it now. I do actually want to go back on over here, throw on the HPDR, and what do we see on the... let's actually go down to the 4-hour time frame. I think this one's probably gonna be the best one right here. 4-hour or 6 hours. Some of the, sometimes one is gonna be better than the other, but they're pretty much the same in this case. We are actually still seeing on the 6-hour time frame low side of the current range, right around 26,200, kind of the same area as yesterday, actually. And actually the average coming in pretty much where we have seen the current rejection on the lower term time frames thus far, just above 27,200. That does imply closures back above about 27.2, 27.250 on Bybit right here. And I would be looking for a retest of the top side of this range, basically last week's high, just above $28,000. That would be kind of the trigger that I'd be looking for on that. By the other hand, I suppose below about 26,250, that's where it goes from a bear trap to a bull trap yet again. It's just a fucking trap central over here, trapception going on, and we get to abuse the trap title yet again now, don't we? Anyways, yes, so going through it actually now that I do recognize it, pretty much all time frames actually postured around that low 26,200-ish region. Personally speaking, I do think that it would be quite worrying for the Bulaws there if they did start to lose 26,500 yet again. That would be a little bit more on the concerning side for them. But moving into stochastic momentum, let's start off with the daily. Daily time frame will actually turn back up if today does close above 27,170 on CME. Currently trading about $100 below that number. Just so that it's clear, there is obviously a premium on over spot price action of almost $100 right there. See what spot is actually showing. Yeah, spot is showing 26,830 or so, just for reference. 12-hour time frame also going to be showing upside pressure as long as Bitcoin's above 26,000 and change. 6-hour time frame also going to be showing upside as long as Bitcoin's above 25,700 and change. 4-hour time frame also going to be showing upside above 25,650, and hourly is going to be probably down. Indeed, it is below 27,300. So very, very short-term corrective. Medium and higher-term timeframes, this would be their chance. In this next 24-hour period, I would say, if we really fail to see continuation, I would say by Friday, that would be a very, very concerning thing. So yes, just kind of getting through it right there. Anyways, one other thing that I did want to bring back up is kind of like a joke at first, but it is working, and it is legitimate, to be fair as well, would be the falling channel over here that we pointed out, I think it was a few days ago, showing that 25,200-ish region as a nice bounce region. These typically do have a higher probability of breaking out to the upside rather than the downside. I think it's in like the mid to low 60%. So, better than a coin flip, but not perfect, obviously. But the interesting thing about this is that we can actually generate an implied target if it does resolve to the upside, which resolution to the upside would mean a closure above the top side of this current boundary, which is around about 28,000 bucks as of right now. If that were to happen, Bitcoin very likely going to retest those prior highs that we did see in April, probably make slightly new highs. And at that point, several of the other ideas that we've, postulated on this channel many times, start to take over, and, probably looking for extension realistically to like 34-ish thousand, I would say, rather comfortably. Again, if that were to happen. Now, I do want to address a potential for this to all fall apart. First things first, we'll start off running over here with, I think the 6-hour time frame will probably have it. Let me just double check. Actually, no, it does not have it right now, but the 4-hour time frame does have potential hidden bearish divergence in play. Now, it is not confirmed hidden bearish divergence, and actually it's not even there now that I wasn't on CME. Where is this coming from? CME does say so, yes. But I would say it does not get confirmed until Bitcoin on CME, which again has a premium over spot price action, is below about 26,700, let's call it 26,700. That would be rather concerning. On the, and also going hand in hand with that, I do want to bring up some over here on the 3-hour time frame, as we do see that there is a potential for an HPUDR short play over here. Now, this one, I will say at the outset, is, as you'll see, is not going to be like that super attractive. But of course, several closures above the blue 50% of historical returns range highs here, alongside a decline in BBWP, which we did see right here, although this one does look like it's going to go for, the double extreme, which is what you do see on reversals almost always. So again, I would say that this is probably going to fail. Which is actually going to be very, very interesting, because we can get failure targets here as well, which is just as valuable in my opinion. But that particular setup, we can go ahead and use our strategy tester to back test. And out of 112 closed trades, 66% of those did have a nice downside move. When we go into the performance summary of it, we can see that the average winning trade, so in this case, average downside, was about 380%. But the average losing trade was actually more in this case. Not the best setup, like I said. But 487, profitable over the long term, yes, but kind of ugly right there. But 487%. So that would imply that if we are going to see this one fail, we would be expecting an almost 5% move to the upside, which would put Bitcoin where? Just below 28,000 bucks, which puts it where? Just around the top side of this formation right here, which at that point, we might just see resolution confirmed to the upside, thus initiating a pretty pretty nice move. But yeah, going into it right around here, what sort of things could we be looking for that would be a good indication that it's going to fail? Well, I'd like to see the average number of bars in the losing trade, which is 23. So once it starts to get around 23, let's say, that's when this becomes a lot more likely to fail. On the winning side, it's actually 18. So anything over 18, I would say, would start to favor a little bit more of of this upside resolution. But seeing as this one already started yesterday on Tuesday, we have 5 bars into this one. It's still going to take like another day or so before that can really be used as a guide. Until then, it does look like Bitcoin Bullish is going to have a chance here. I would still be saying below 26,700 on CME is the first major warning signal. Personally speaking, bull trap confirmed below about 26,500 on any time frame, 6-hour or greater. And if you want to play by the book, then 26,200 would be the number. But I personally don't think that that would be necessary to wait for, because that'd start to look pretty fucking ugly to cough up this whole rally. So I expect that today and tomorrow are going to be days fraught, maybe with peril, maybe with fucking peril. So I think it's a good place for me to be leaving off on this particular video. A little bit longer, but a lot of things kind of chew through here as we do follow up on prior ideas. And with that said, I'd like to be wishing you the best as always. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully soon.